EPA was created in 1970, and what I'm showing here is just a picture of the planet Earth. You can see, as we all know, that three-quarters of the Earth is covered with water. So the situation with water pollution at that time was that factories were piping their industrial waste into rivers like the Cuyahoga River in Ohio that caught fire and was covered by Time magazine and sort of precipitated, along with other issues, the creation of EPA. The philosophy at that time was articulated this way: the solution to pollution is dilution. So the industrial waste would go in the rivers run into the oceans, and so toxic waste were diluted out to very low concentrations, parts per trillion and lower, in the oceans. Uh, in 1988, Congress banned ocean dumping of sewage sludge, where a lot of industrial waste were going to wastewater treatment plants and settling out in the sludge, which is about one-third animal fat. And so a lot of these chemicals that we worry about, in fact, all of them that we worry about the most, what EPA calls priority pollutants, are concentrated in animal fat. That's one of the downsides. They're biomagnified. They have a low water solubility, but very high solubility in animal fat. So they end up in mother's breast milk and our own body fat. Birds, for example, that Rachel Carson talked about in Silent Spring, when food got scarce, they would die because they'd start using their own body fat, and it was so loaded with pesticides that it killed them. So what was getting diluted in the water is concentrated millions of times over in sewage sludge, but that worked out fine to haul the sewage sludge 5 miles off the coast and dump it for years until hypodermic needles and other debris started washing up in New Jersey. Congress got into action on that and banned ocean dumping of sewage sludge. So what happened was that in 1993, to accommodate the accumulation of sewage sludge containing very high levels of all of these priority pollutants like pesticides, pharmaceuticals, petroleum byproducts, the things we worry about causing cancer and birth defects, neurological disorders. What EPA decided to do is apply them to farms and forests, and from there to school playgrounds, to home gardens, you name it, everywhere you could find a piece of land to put sewage sludge on. That was EPA's objective. That was the way it was going to get rid of this toxic waste, is basically market it as free fertilizer because it's sewage. It's got lots of nitrogen and phosphorus in it. So, as I mentioned before, when this rule went through EPA for internal approval, it's called the 503 sludge rule. EPA's field scientists, including at the lab where I worked in Athens, Georgia, pointed out that we have no science to support land application of this material as being safe. And so EPA's scientists would not approve this rule. It got approved without EPA's scientists supporting it in 1992. And you see here where we've ended up. So what existed once in water at very low concentrations, which became regulated under the Clean Water Act, It also became regulated, those pollutants under the Clean Air Acts, where you couldn't put them out in the air at any significant concentration, got concentrated in and applied to the land for one reason. We have no Clean Soil Act. There is nothing comparable, no comparable protection for the land that we have with air and water. So from industry and government perspective, it, I guess, made sense. We're going to transfer these pollutants to land that are regulated in air and water. It's sort of an escape hatch for industry.